Hi, this is your presenter, Pragati Chaudhary. The topic of discussion is Merits of Basic Education as promulgated by Mahatma Gandhi. Before moving forward with our presentation, we would like to explore what is basic education. Before understanding what basic education is, let us try to acquaint ourselves what Mahatma Gandhi meant by education. By education, he meant an all-round development of a child, trying out his or her best at individual level and also at the level of mind and spirit. Basic education means education which helps the individual to fulfill his or her basic needs. This revolves around the rich Indian culture and Indian civilization, the motto being inculcating of self-reliance and self-sufficiency. According to the pure soul, the innate nature of the child plays a pivotal role in choosing his or her profession in the later stages of his or her life. So till now, I expect you all will be very excited to know more about basic education. So let us start with the scheme of basic education. So let us quickly examine what the scheme of basic education is. Firstly, it talks about the free, universal, and compulsory education for children. And second thing, the most important thing, well, is mother tongue to be used as a medium of instruction. And the next thing it talks about is the integration of craft into the education as per the capacity and needs of the locality in which he or she lives. Now, what were the crafts that we talked about? The crafts were, as you can see, spinning and weaving, carpenter and woodwork, leatherwork, kitchen, gardening, agriculture, and fisheries, and so on. The list goes so on. Now, the craft education must have economic value so that they can be sold to mitigate the expenses of the schools that should not be borne upon the normal population. Also, the students must be taught the social and the scientific implications of the art and crafts they were indulged in. They must be taught how to integrate their knowledge with the selected craft. So by now you all must be acquainted with the basic education and the scheme of the basic education. So now let us quickly move towards the merits of basic education. Here we go. Merits, merits, merits. So the first point in our merits list is a rapid expansion of elementary education with minimum dependence on public funds. Look now folks, this is the most important line, minimum dependence on public fund. As we discussed above, that the crafts must be sold to mitigate the expenses of the school. So point to be noted here. Now the next point is to develop the status of country. So it has a surprising element of financial aspects it imparts in the children's. Now the next point is the activity-oriented education, and it focuses on the learning by doing principles. So here children acquire the practical knowledge that helps them to select their profession which they will profess in the later stages of their lives. Now, as you have seen, that it is a child-centric process, a child-centric education, and it considers the creative, the constructive sense of children. And the most important thing here is the dignity of labor. Point to be noted, dignity of labor. It beautifies the labor and it shuns the difference between the different professions which we perceive in our society. Continuation of the merits of the basic education. The next point is correlating the education with craft. Now, this was the main idea, to correlate the education with craft. The correlation also occurs between the physical environment, the social environment in which we live, and also with the craft work. Now, the next point is focus on the cultural and social heritage. We need to disseminate the knowledge of our cultural, our social heritage to the younger generations. Now, the next point is the harmonious development of body, mind, and spirit. And yes, you will be nodding your heads as you must be agreeing with this point. Now, the last point is the social, moral, as well as the democratic values like cooperation, responsibility, fellow feeling, and the minds of students that are accompanied in the process of the craft work they are indulged in. Now let us quickly move on to the importance of basic education plan that was given by the government after realizing the immense benefits, the immense importance of basic education. So the first and most important point is free and compulsory education. Now this is yet to be achieved. Now the next point is reformation of Indian economy. Now you all must know India went through so many things from Muslim invasions to British rule to partition in 1947. The economy sunk deeper and deeper, and it was really important to uplift it. Now the next point is formation of society free from class and torture. Now this is really hard to implement, as you all know that today also the society is in the mire of superficial differences. Our society is still not completely free from notions of class, caste, race, gender, etc. Now the next point is development of national integrity. Now, no matter from where you come from, no matter what occupation you profess, no matter what is your belief, your religious belief, your culture, your heritage, or whatever, but you must have that we feeling that yes, this is my nation, yes, we belong to this country, and yes, we'll take it to a pinnacle much, much, much above the USA. Now, the last point is building ideal citizens through combination of individual and society. Now, the notion of ideality is hard to achieve, yet it gives immense hope to the people. Failure, failure, failure. Now, why did the basic education plan fail? Come, let us find out. Hey, you still there? Congratulations if you're still there. Now let us move on to the failures of the basic education plan. Why did it fail? First point is the lack of responsibility on the part of leaders in government. Now we all know how responsible they are. Second thing is the handicraft was not selected well in connection with the leaders' demands and the social situation. Third, lack of funds for implementation. Yes, you read it right, lack of funds for implementation. Yes, we talked about how the craft could be sold to mitigate the expenses of the school, but yet the threshold funds were lacking, the funds didn't met with, and the things didn't materialize. Now, the last point is the lack of trained teachers. Thank you for all the patient listeners of the presentation. Have a nice day.